things you own end up owning you.
How does this iconic line tie to the fall of man in the garden? And how do corporations utilize this? Yes, they utilize it, and it's much darker than you think. This is how they get us addicted to buying their products while making profits. Let's unpack this iconic line. What is your dream car? Mine is and used to be Mercedes-Benz S500 sedan, a white one to be specific. I used to picture how people will marvel seeing me drive it. The image I will leave on people who are nowhere but in my head. What does this car say about me? I used to yearn for the validation and recognition it will bring me. It is still my dream car, but not in the way that I used to visualize it back then. When Carl Benz built his first car, he had a great vision that his car will move people from place A to place B faster and more conveniently. A car was innovated for that simple purpose: transportation. Right now, it's hard to think of it that way. These days, it is a status symbol, a statement to the people around you. That is true with phones as well. People subconsciously judge you with the type of phone that you use, with those using iPhone seen as superior to the ones who use Android. There have been cases where students are bullied for not having an authentic Stanley Cup. Is this deep identification with the material a symptom of the consequences of the fall in the Garden of Eden? I consider the story of Adam and Eve to be one of the greatest stories ever written. Many people interpret it literally, but miss the symbolic depth of the story. As we know, the snake was shrewd and tempted Eve to eat of the fruit which will make them be like God. This is where the fall occurs, the desire to be like God. If you understand God as the highest good and the essence of things that all identities participate in, for example, if I say the word human body, you will think of it as a single identity, and yet it's a collection of systems, for example, the nervous system, the digestive system, etc., which in themselves can be further broken down to single body parts that collectively work together with an aim, which is to host the soul and keep you alive. Imagine one day, if the nervous system or the digestive system stop working for the higher identity to work for themselves. With this, I mean to compete with other systems to demonstrate their own importance in keeping the body alive. The systems will fragment. This is also true in how human beings relate to the material world. Technology is an extension of the co-creator identity with God, but creation can turn poisonous when it serves a false self, that is, when it serves you for personal glory over the intended purpose, as the example with the car for status. This is the weakness in every human being, what the Catholic referred to as the original sin. Corporations know this and have utilized it for their own benefits in keeping human beings addicted to buying their products, and this is how. You've probably heard of Edward Bernays. If you have not, don't worry, I'll enlighten you. Edward Bernays is an Austrian-American who pioneered in the field of public relations and propaganda. He was Sigmund Freud's nephew, who had been intrigued by the theories his uncle had on human nature. Sigmund Freud believed that human behavior was driven by unconscious forces. According to his theory, the human psyche was divided into three parts: the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is a primal component of personality, present from birth, and is driven by the pleasure principle, to seek immediate gratification of basic urges, instincts, and desires. It is selfish and illogical and operates without consideration of the consequences of reality. The superego is the morality principle, the conscience, the part of you that strives for perfection and morality. The ego sits as the intermediary, a sort of regulator, to guide the relations between the id and the superego. Edward Bernays was particularly interested in the group psychology theories his uncle had developed. Sigmund Freud believed that when human beings are in a group, they suspend their superego because everyone is acting the same way. Guilt and personal responsibility disappears. When human beings are in a group, they take the leader as the ideal. In groups, people are in a hypnotic state, and this makes them easy to manipulate. Edward Bernays picked up on this. His conclusion was not to sell products appealing to the rational mind, but to link it to the deep unconscious forces. For example, a car is not sold by showing its superior features. It is sold with how it makes you feel having it. A phone is not sold for its practical uses, but by how it makes you feel and appear to people. Overnight, how marketing was done changed completely. For example, in 1929, cigarette companies had a problem. They wanted to double their revenue. At that time, it was taboo for women to smoke. Edward Bernays was tasked with the job to break it. In the Easter Sunday of that year, Bernays tipped off the press that a group of suffragettes will be lighting quote-unquote torches of freedom. He hired models to do this, and at his prearranged signal, they lit cigarettes in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. The story was a sensation, and believe it or not, the taboo was broken. The conscious linking of the material to our identity, taking advantage of our fallen nature, is how corporations have kept us in the constant cycle of spending, which really leaves us empty than satisfied. Since we live in the world of duality, what makes us happy can easily make us sad. A car can be your source of happiness, and at the same time, it can involve you in a serious accident or become boring when there's a new car trending. Instead of looking at the emptiness as a pointer to something crucial, we continue in the same cycle of buying what's new and in time, we become numb to everything. This all sounds pretty scary, but there is hope. As Pascal said, there's a God-shaped hole in every human heart. The solution to all this is seeking God by attending your local church, appreciating your family and the people around you, using material goods as tools rather than symbols of status and self-deification. When your relationship with God becomes primary, all else is secondary. Till next time.